Hello, Javier. How you doing? All right, I got your work up, and I've downloaded. Let me just jump over here. I want to resize these. Okay, there's the back, and then the front of the poster is right over here. So let me just reduce. All right, good to go. All right, front of the poster looks great. I think you did a good job. This is exactly what I was talking about. See how that looks like part of the N and the M as opposed to having it just kind of placed over. So that's working out very well. Good job there. Pretty good kerning. Good attention to detail in your title. That's good. Good job there. Your tagline looks good. One of the things I would recommend in the tagline is to increase the tracking, because right now these letters are pretty close together. So you have a color on a color. You want to open up that tracking so that we don't get visual vibration. Other things associated with typography when you place color typography on another color. So generally the rule of thumb is that whenever you're going to reverse type or use color type on a color background, you want to increase the tracking, especially if you're using serif typeface, but again, also with the sans serif, not to the same extent, but definitely you want to do that. Typographically, that quotation right there should be hung, meaning that this F should be in alignment with the left margin, and that quote should hang off the edge. Don't have to worry about it on the right because that's not justified. That's rag right, but that quote definitely has to be hung. Just I don't know if you used InDesign or Illustrator, so what you'll do is just do a Google search how to hang quotation or hanging quotation in Illustrator or InDesign, whichever one you use. My final comment on the front of the poster is this: I think is really, really begging for additional colors. Now that flag, South Africa, is green, red, blue, yellow, and black. Right now we have the yellow and the black and the green, which is great, but I'm just thinking this is dying for a pop of red in here somewhere. I really think it's going to bring the color home, popping some red in there somewhere. Let's jump to the back. Now you've got a good idea. You're creating this visual continuation using the chain. That's a good, solid technique. I think this is interesting. The broken chain is interesting, but I think this is too much different than the chains on the front. I would rather you just duplicate those chains and place them on the back. Now there's a couple of things you can do. I think using the chains for the timeline is good, but this isn't a good application of that, because right now you've got this is the title, then you have to go here, then you jump over here, then jump over here, and there's just too much eye movement. The eye is just zigzagging around the page trying to follow the timeline. So there's a couple of different things you can do. You can take that chain in the front and assemble it this way, kind of snaking like that, and then just take your timeline entries and just take them right on. So here's the chain. There's one right up there, then maybe one down here, then the next one up, then the next one down. So you're actually reading from right to left, so it would make sense. There's no really kind of crazy, drastic zigzagging and eye movement like we see here. I think this is really interesting, that broken chain. Suppose you took that broken chain link and used it to indicate the part of the timeline where he was released from prison, breaking his chains. Visual metaphor, right? Think about that. Okay, let's look at typography. Now, you've got some things going on here. You've got a lot of numbers, right? And consider using old-style numerals, which means that you will have to do some research on how to access open type for the typeface that you're using. I'm not sure if this has old-style numerals available, but again, you could just Google, accessing old-style numerals in whatever typeface this is that you have right here. Okay, and it's through the open type menu, so there's a hint for you, right? Okay, let's go to your main typography. Again, this is a great example of reversed type. So you've got this black serif typeface on a color background. It's a very, very smart move that you increase the leading, and that's great. However, I do recommend that you increase your tracking throughout the entire 3 paragraphs. Increase that tracking a little bit as well. Watch your rags. Watch your rags. You got these wavy patterns, right? Remember our rags. Let me see if you can Remember rags, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. So not even really noticeable. Just, so just as long as you don't have like these diagonals like this, 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 or these wavy patterns like this. Or right over, let me see. These are your best rags right here. And the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 lines. So you can see long line, short line, long line, short line, long line, short line, long line, short line. These are really good. But here we got this pattern here, this diagonal here. Here's a pattern here, a wavy pattern. Here's a diagonal. There's too much difference between the shortest line and the longest line right there. And there's a diagonal there. So you really want to adjust your rags. Okay, other than that, you're doing fantastic. So those are my recommendations. It entails some recomposition, but if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I really think those will add a lot of visual interest. Those recommended changes will add a lot of visual interest to the page. All right, good job. Any questions? Give me a holler. Thanks, man.